Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Today I'm going to tie another of William Bayard Sturgis patterns, and this is a streamer, and it's a white wing Grizzly. The hook that I have in the vise is a number 475. This is a size 6. It is 1 extra strong and 3 extra long streamer hook. I'm going to use black thread, and we're going to put a base of thread down, start at the front, and we're going to bring it to the rear. You can make open spaces, and when we get close to the rear, I'm going to tighten them up. And we're going to stop just about where it hangs at the barb. So first thing we're going to put on is the tail, and that is going to be a Scarlet Goose. And here is your craft store Goose. And we're just going to snip off a chunk of that. Try and keep this together, but they don't stay very good. I'm going to hold it right on top. We don't want it more than half. That's actually a little bit long. So take a little bit off there. There we go. We don't want that wing to be, or that tail to be more than half the length of the hook shank. You're going to hold it directly on top, take that loose loop, take it around and pull it straight down. There's that front lifting up. We know it's right there. And we have that in place. Now I'm going to wrap that forward just to secure it. I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. And I left a bit just so I can keep a level body. And we got one barbel, and we'll get rid of that. Now we're going to put our rib on next, and that's going to be gold tinsel. I'm going to use number 12 gold tinsel, and we're going to tie this on. This is a gold and silver tinsel. We're going to tie it on with the gold side to the shank. And when we wrap it, we'll see the gold side. Now for the body, we're going to use, it says green chenille ribbed with gold. So we have our gold tinsel on there. And here's one with the green chenille. But what the chenille did, it's thick, and where it's tied in, it's thick, and it caused the wing to kind of go up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use green floss for a substitute. And I just have green floss is acetate floss, but it is like a single strand. So I'm going to take about a foot of it. Actually going to tie it in at the front. Now when we tie this, we want to have, when you're tying, you want to keep the number of wraps down to a minimum in the front especially, so that you don't build up a bulk there. We're going to go ahead and wrap this. We're going to wrap it back and then come forward. I turn it like that so I can see the point of the hook. So that when I get closer, it's going to be more important. And I'm wrapping it pretty tight. We get that right to the back. There we go. And we're wrapping it flat, but you have to be careful for it when it spreads. You can rotate your vise, and actually would probably be a lot nicer. There we go. We're going to tie this in. And remember, minimal amount of wraps. I got 4, and I'm going to put 1 or 2 in front of it. I'm going to trim that off. Nice and close. And now we can go ahead and wrap our tinsel. And we can tie that in. Make sure your tinsel is tight. Keeping your wraps to a minimum. And now for the hackle, the book actually says Plymouth Rock, but Plymouth Rock is a grizzly hackle, and that's where we get the grizzly from, the white-winged grizzly. And you want a hackle that has a lot of web in it. And what I did was I took the hackle from the top of a cape and I gave it the crew cut. It's not easy doing a crew cut on the tips. I'm going to secure that. And I'm going to wrap this forward a bit just because I'm on the tip and it tends to be a little bit slippery on the tip. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap this, and we're going to want the hackle to be on the one side. So we can just fold it as we're going. I'm going to put a hackle plier on here. And we want a pretty nice full hackle. The reason I put it on by the tip is because the tip is thinner than the butt. And it will allow for putting multiple wraps on there. I'm going to give that one last one. And we're going to tie that off there. Keep that tension. There we go. We want to use a minimal amount of wraps once again. I'm going to put a couple of wraps in front. And use my poke and snip to get rid of that excess. And now we have much less, a much smaller bump or jump there. You can see this chenille is much heavier than the floss. I'm going to come back on it just a little bit just to help me give me some space for tying in the wing. Now the wing, it says white polar bear or bucktail, so I'm going to use the bucktail. I'm not going to take a lot. I'm going to put these in the hair stacker and even them out. And I got a couple wild ones there. They will fall off. Going to lift it. And get that hair back in there. Give it a couple of more taps with the tube lifted so that I have more sticking out so I can grab onto them. Now the wing we want just slightly past the tail. I'm going to hold that on. And we don't want to pull real hard as to flare it. There we go. Make sure that is sitting on top nicely. I'm going to continue to hold that as I go down. Now I'm going to tighten them up a bit. And you can see that front flaring a bit. And they should be good. Now I can trim off the front. There we go. Make sure they're nice on top. And I'm going to clean up that head there a little bit. Now the last thing for the shoulders, we want jungle cock, but this is optional. I'm going to take a couple of jungle cock feathers, and I'm going to take relatively smaller ones for this. I'm going to pull out a pair, and you can see the jungle cock cape that I have. They should actually be yellow, but can't afford $150 for one hackle. And I'm going to take them down. There we go, we got the one. Now we're going to take our jungle cock and we're going to put them right on alongside. You could get them in the middle or even up along the wing. That's where I'm going to put them. I'm going to kind of put them along the wing there. Take the second. And let's see where that goes. Let's push that one down just a little bit. Yep, not that far. There we go. I'm going to clean this head up carefully. Go down. Try to get them wraps touching. And if you have a stem of your jungle cock left over, you can fold it back. The one does and the one doesn't. And then break that off. Oop. Actually, there is a small piece of stem there, so I'm going to fold that back. And that kind of locks them in. Make sure we cover that. And finish up that head. Take our whip finish. Tug that tight. Go ahead and remove that thread. going to put some head cement on there. And I'm going to put a generous amount and let it soak in. Might even get 2. Get a couple of coats on there, but let that soak right in there. And here we have a William Bayard Sturgis pattern, the White Wing Grizzly. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors. Let them know that I sent you. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. If you'd like to purchase any flies that I make, go to etsy.com/shop/theflymanjim. And if you don't see it there, just send me a message and tell me what you're looking for, and we'll figure it out. You could send me a picture or whatever. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.